Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in the last video we talked about how DOM events work, so how I could attach an event to a button or a div or whatever. In this video what I'm going to do is talk about how you can create custom events. Okay, so cool. So let's do this. I'm going to create a custom event. There's two ways to do this. Okay, I'm going to const button, we'll call this button first, because the idea we'll call this event button first because the idea is that the button gets clicked first and it's the button's event running that triggers this event. So equals a new event, and it'll just be called button first. So what I'm going to do is now we have this new type of event. So we created a whole new kind of event. I'm going to say going forward that this event listener that's on the div will be triggered by button first. So it's no longer being triggered by click. Okay? And what I'm going to do, okay, is that when the button gets clicked here in the code, so we'll put this, I'll get rid of this event prevent default. I'm going to say that the div will dispatch the event and it'll dispatch a button first event. So technically whenever I click the button causes this other event to happen. Okay, and again I want to dispatch the event from the div that has the listener, because again the event has to happen on that particular element for that particular element's listener to be triggered. So again, I created a new button first event. This event will be, I had added a listener for this event on the div, and I'm saying that once we click the button, this event happens, and at the end of that event, we're triggering that other event here. So even though I have stop propagation, which stops the bubbling, this event will still happen because we're not bubbling the click event, we're triggering a separate button first event. So watch what happens. Failed to execute dispatch event on event target parameter. One is not of type event. Oh, my bad. Okay, I don't want to pass button first. I want to pass the actual event here. So this would be button first, the variable button first that holds the actual event object. Okay, because here you need to pass the actual event object. So there we go. So let's try that again. Okay, and there you go. See, Gouda, I happened to. So again, before in the first video, this was a click event, and we prevented it from happening by using stop propagation. But again, while the click event is no longer propagating, we've changed this to a button first event, which is being triggered at the end of this click event. So that's how you could use custom events. You can create custom events, you can trigger them wherever you want. So that way, if there's certain situations that don't naturally have an event, you could create the event so that way the things you want to be triggered when that thing happens. So again, you have to create the event object first, and it still gets the event. So basically, if I were the console log, this still gets the event object even with the custom event. But what if I wanted to pass like extra custom information inside that event object? Well, then I need to change how I make the event. I have to change this to custom event. And then what I do is I pass in a second argument with an object, and there's an object called a property called detail. We'll say that this property is Gouda. Okay. Now what I can do is that when this particular event gets triggered, inside the event that's passed to that event, there's going to be this property called detail that has this information, which if I wanted to send a whole bunch, I would just send like an object or an array. So now let's see here. So when this event gets triggered, let's see if we can access that detail. So console.log event.detail, because again we pass the event into the function. So let's see here, I've been clicked, and there it is. The event.detail is right here, Gouda. Okay, and just to make that clear, let me just change that to Munster, so that way we can see it's different than the other Gouda coming from the button. And there you go. So you see there's Munster. Okay, so we can add extra information that may be key to our particular application into the event object. So that's cool. And that's what you can do in the browser. So that's what this video is covering. Like, how do you do these events in the browser? In the next video, we'll talk about how. Now, the only thing I want to point out about this is that these two methods don't work in Internet Explorer. There is an older way to do it if you really care about Internet Explorer. But honestly, there comes a point in a web developer's life where, you know, we all have to kind of move beyond Internet Explorer. You know, it's no longer supported, even by Microsoft. It's, you know, it's a dying browser. But if you want to, there is a third way. You just go check out the MDN documents. It shows you the third way to create events. It just requires an extra step. So you would create the event, then you'd have to initialize the event, and then you can use the event. Okay, but these are the ways you create custom events in the browser. These are all going to work in Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Firefox, you know, all the standard browsers. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day and enjoy.